All right, so I haven't done an update for several days, mostly because there wasn't that much of an update. I mean, what you missed was coughing fit, coughing fit, coughing fit, and coughing fit, and then coughing fit. Pretty much just coughing up lots of junk. That's good, but it's not really a whole lot to report. I didn't necessarily feel a lot better or worse with the coughing fits. I did feel my chest kind of stretch. It's weird to try to describe, like when you take a breath and you kind of like hit a stop. And so the stop is getting bigger and bigger, right? Feels like it. Now that stupid little nemesis of mine, that's that little sucker thing or whatever. It doesn't translate. Let's just say that. So I don't know that. But today, I did go to the doctor virtually, which was interesting to finally actually kind of get a virtual doctor meeting. I've never done one, so that was entertaining to me just from the, never done it before. Pretty much just like a Zoom meeting. Anybody who's ever done any kind of Zoom or Teams or whatever video meetings you've done, it pretty much just like that. Of course, with the standard doctor delay. Don't forget the doctor delay. It's supposed to be the appointment at whatever it was, 9:50, and the doctor didn't show up till 9:30. So good to see that at least they kept that consistent with the virtual doctor visits. Anyway, he didn't want me to come in because I'm on the oxygen, but I'm like, I got the bottles. I can roll a bottle in, and next time that's what he's going to want. So, what did he talk about? So we went through a whole bunch of things, right? Like I got low blood pressure now, certainly lower than it was, and sometimes low enough to make me dizzy and really tired. His best working hypothesis on that is, because I'm only taking one medication. He's like, it's a blood thinner. And he's like, the blood thinner really isn't something that would lower your blood pressure, and certainly not significantly. But I don't want to call it a dirty secret, but I don't know if I've shared. The hypothesis is the amount of weight that I've lost probably has something to do with the lower blood pressure, in addition to my significantly modified diet. And so the challenge here is, depending on what day, time, I don't exactly know what my starting weight was. Like, I have pounds to lose. Like, we'll go, the COVID diet is certainly not one I recommend to anyone. But I lost at least 30 pounds in the matter of 2.5 weeks. So that's in to give you an idea in percentages, like that's nearly 20% of my body weight evaporated in 2.5 weeks. That kind of weight loss could lower my blood pressure, right? Like, and again, the modified diet, right? I'm eating essentially a keto diet for the most part. Now, because I know that I don't really want to lose any more weight, and I was, I've been trying to find like a non-wheat carb or something that I can eat to kind of fatten myself back up, if so to speak. I haven't been real successful with that, and tonight was an unmitigated disaster. So one of the other things to talk to the doctor about was I've been monitoring blood sugar ever since I got out of the hospital. I went, showed you the little widget I got, and he was kind of curious, like, why would you do that? And I was like, well, it was blood sugar was all out of whack, and the hospital was on all the steroids and all that. Just figured I'd continue to do it. And he's like, okay, well, that's interesting. And I said, well, I've got some interesting results. And the reason it's really interesting is, I have to go down a little side shoot here. I hadn't gone to the doctor in a lot of years up until this past September. And I felt well. I've not been sick. I mean, really, for 4 or 5 years, maybe a cold or two in that time, and that's it. And so in somewhere in September or something like that, or obviously before that, because doctors take a month at least to get to. I kind of did a little self-evaluation and rubbed those 3 brain cells together and said, that first digit rolled to a 5 like a couple of years ago at this point. And I might want to just go, get a checkup from the neck up kind of idea, right? So made the appointment, went in, did all of the blood tests and all the things, right? Basically, it's a physical. And doctor was real great because he's like, he was as annoyed about the policy, which is I have to come in to the doctor basically as a meet and greet, because to me, he was new at that time. And I can't schedule a physical as my first visit. And he was very put out by that. So he basically did a physical on a first time visit. Anyway, we did all that stuff, and there was no problems that he really found. What is it, A1C for diabetics or whatever? Like I was 4.7 or something. I forget the number, but it was 4 or below 5 or maybe 5.1 or something. Anyway, well within the green zone, basically. And that was in September. So this is why he was very puzzled about why I'm monitoring my blood sugar, closely and all that. And anyway, up until tonight, I had hundreds, 99s, 108, 109, whatever for my fasting, wake up in the morning, blood sugars, pre-meal kind of thing. And then after meals, I think I had a high of like a 160, but usually like 125s, 135s, maybe a 145. So anyway, that's where I've been. Again, you haven't missed much other than me stabbing the hell out of my fingers to watch the blood sugars and me hacking up, half a lung every night. I have no lungs left. You add enough halves up and there's no lungs left to cough. So he was like, well, why are you checking? I was like, So tonight, rice and beans. And like refried beans mixed with rice. I love that. It's delicious. And I figured, hey, that's a good kind of like, fatten you up kind of meal. So I went ahead and checked blood sugar after that joker about 2 hours later. And that was a mistake. Well, maybe eating the meal was a mistake. And then checking the blood sugar was definitely a sticker shock, because it was like 275. So as part of the discussion this morning, there's, this low blood pressure thing that's making me real tired. Sometimes that pressure is really low. Thankfully, I think over the last couple of days, it's gone up and kind of stabilized. So, before I went to the hospital and did all this COVID nonsense, I was a 115, 117 over 77 kind of guy. Pretty regular, pick up or down, couple points. And then after I've, removed, or after COVID removed 20% of my body weight, I'm now like I can be a 90 over 55 kind of guy, which, man, that is like, for me, very low. So I stand up and get dizzy. I just feel dead tired. Just, kind of can't hardly keep my head up when I'm like that. But at this point, last couple of days, for the most part, blood pressure's been in like the 110, 109, 110, 111 over 66, 67 kind of thing. So I haven't felt nearly as tired. Blood pressure, that's a decent blood pressure, but so the doctor's suspicion is probably rapid weight loss. But as abundance of caution, he's going to end up sending me to a cardiologist and getting like an ultrasound or something, just to make sure that nothing's actually wrong. What else we talked about? So the blood sugar thing, he's like, yeah, your numbers are fairly normal, anyway, but he really wants to kind of do another A1C type of tests and blood work and whatever. So he's like, yeah, we're going to make another appointment for you to come in and actually physically go into the office, probably in a week or so. He's trying to work out a lot of these appointments at this point because cardiologist kind of thing. He wants to see me. He wants to listen to my lungs. He wants to, do some of that kind of stuff. He's going to evaluate for sending me to pulmonologist, right, lung dude, because my O2 levels aren't really going up significantly. So I'm coughing a lot of stuff out. I feel like I can breathe. I'm pulling a much bigger breath at this point, but the O2 levels aren't really going up. Now, that could be because the blood pressure is so damn low. Who knows? I'm not the doctor. Remember that part? Not the doctor. Still not the doctor. So anyway, that's kind of the update from the appointment this morning. He's also said, like, you got enough weird symptoms after the fact. You got enough kind of, I don't know what you'll carry on or carry over type problems. You're kind of slow to recover, which that's the only quote normal thing. COVID hits everyone very differently. And he's like, there's almost no normal to COVID, but it's not uncommon for recovery for some folks to take a while. Given that I have these weird blood sugar, problems, I have these weird low blood pressure problems, I have, some of this other stuff. He's also going to try to get me. He's like, you're too soon. You haven't recovered enough. But he's going to try to get me into a sort of this study group, whatever, that they study people after COVID, kind of after effect kind of stuff. Anyway, that's what he said. So that's it. There's the update, right? Like I said, didn't miss a whole lot. Haven't made leaps and bounds. I'm still tethered to this stupid oxygen thing, right? I didn't, magically hit 100 and, in the last like 4 or 5 days. Haven't done any of that. Haven't felt like I feel good enough to get up, move around, get a little winded, sit down, recover quickly, right? So, but you've heard that, that story already. Hell, that story was the story not long after I got home. So it's been basically a week and a half, and at this point, I'm kind of at a plateau. I feel like I'm at a plateau. Maybe I'm just improving in such small increments that I'm not noticing the improvements anymore, right? So that's a possibility. Let's hope, like fingers crossed on that one. I don't feel like I've backslid, but there have been a few days where I kind of did, and then the normal. I guess if one improvement might be I'm not waking up feeling super wrecked in the morning and then getting better during the day. I'm actually waking up feeling fairly decent. Sleeping is still kind of a challenge just in general because I am, of course, the coughing fits. Let's talk about these coughing fits. These wonderful coughing fits like to show up at, 9:45 at night. And they like to go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And it's like, really? Like, got to show up right at bedtime, huh? Or the coughing fit shows up at 10:30 in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening, right after I've laid down, start coughing. So, and it takes a while to kind of come down off of those, and probably half hour or whatever, because heart rate goes up pretty good and panting pretty good after you cough for an hour. Lots of good junk coming out, but still coughing pretty vigorously. So anyway, that's really about it. Didn't have much to tell you other than coughing, and coughing until today, where I had the doctor visit and kind of had all these other things to. I knew these things, I was monitoring, but unless you're a doctor and you could interpret all of the random things, wasn't much but data, and I needed the analysis of the data, which happened this morning, before I had a real update. So anyway, there it is. That's the real update. More to come once I get some more appointments and do some of the other things. So that'll do it for now. Later.